1. The Martyrdom of St. Dabamon. On this day, St. Dabamon was martyred, and a man named Warsinufa was called upon to be a bishop, but he fled to Kahmun, diocese of Bana. There he found a lodging with two brothers called Dabamon Evdamian and Bastamon Episteman. That night the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, "Why are you asleep? Why the fire is on, and the crowns are prepared? Arise and go to the governor and confess Christ to receive the crown of martyrdom." When he rose up, they told the two brothers about his vision. They all agreed to receive the crowns. They went to the governor and professed the name of the Lord Christ before him. The governor tortured them and put them in prison. Then he took them with him from Ben Hillel to Sanhur. He asked them to raise incense for the idols, but they refused. The governor tortured them again, and the Lord sent his angel to comfort them. When he took them to Sar, where the priest of the idols told the governor that the woman named Dabamon for Degua had cursed the gods. She was a righteous and charitable woman who had a daughter named Youannis. They waved bribes and painted beautiful drawings on them. They sold and gave whatever was left as alms. The governor sent an executioner and an effigy. When he saw her righteousness and her good nature, he refrained from killing her and took her with him to the governor. There she met Saint Warsenufa and his two companions. The governor tortured her excessively and ordered to squeeze her with the press. The Lord strengthened her and raised her whole again. Meanwhile, Eulogy, the executioner that broke her, professed the Lord Christ. He was beheaded and received the crown of martyrdom. The governor was ordered Dabamon to be beheaded outside of the city. They tore her out, and the women were around her weeping, but she was rejoicing. They cut her head off, and she received the crown of martyrdom. Her prayers were with us. Amen. 2. The commemoration of the closing of the Pagan temples and opening of the churches. On this day also, of the year 312 AD, the righteous Emperor Constantine the Great issued this edict to close all the pagan temples and open all the churches throughout the whole Roman Empire. The news of the edict arrived to Alexandria on this day, and all the people rejoiced exceedingly along with the heavenly host. All the Christians made this day a great feast day. This was at the beginning of the enthronement of Pope Alexander I, the 19th Patriarch of Alexandria. May his prayers be with us. Amen. Today also, of the year 1434 AM, Pope Youannis XVI, the 103rd Patriarch of Alexandria, departed. The Pope was known by the name Youannis el Tochi. His parents were Christians from Toch el Nazara, the diocese El Minufia. They brought their son, whose name was Ibrahim, with the best of care. They provided him with the best of education. God blessed him from his youth. Thus he grew up in virtue and a chaste life. When his father departed, he forsook the world and desired the monastic life. He went to the monastery of St. Anthony in the wilderness of Araba and became a monk there. He put on the garb of the monk and attired with the holy scheme. When he saw his dedication in worship and asceticism, the fathers, the monks, chose him to be a priest. Pope Matthias IV ordained him a priest from the monastery in the Church of the Virgin Lady in Harat el Ziwaila. He became more gratuitous in his new priestly rank and increased his worship until his goodliness, humility, and meekness became well known. When Pope Matthias departed, the bishops, priests, and lay leaders met to choose He to choose a good shepherd, they elected a number of priests and monks, among whom was his father. They chased it an altar. They cast it an altar a lot after they had celebrated the Holy Liturgy for 3 consecutive days, asking God to give them to the one who is fit to shepherd his people. When the Lord was made, it fell on his father. They knew and realized that God had chosen him for this office. He was ordained on Sunday, the 9th on Baram Had, 1392 AM. He was called Youannis the 16th. The celebration of his enthronement was splendid, and the joy prevailed everywhere in Egypt. He gave his attention to the restoration of the monasteries and the churches. He restored the holy place in Jerusalem and paid off its debts. He renovated many churches and monasteries which he consecrated by his best hands. He gave special attention to the monastery of St. Paul, the first hermit in Mount Nemra. The monastery was desolate for a period of more than 100 years. He opened it, restored it, and established the monastic life in it, and made it a sanctuary. And he and made it, he pre- he prepared he opened it, restored it, rest- reestablished it, reestablished the monastic life in it, and made it better than before. He prepared books, fells, altar accessories, and relics of saints of it, and consecrated it himself. He ordained many priests, deacons, and monks for it on Sunday, the 19th of Basan, 1421 AM. He visited the monastery of the great Saint Anthony, the father of the monks in Mount El Kalzam, four times. The first was in the month of Kiyah, 1395 AM, accompanied by the head of the monastery and some monks. The second was in the 20th of Baramuda, 1411 AM. At the end of the Holy Fast, she was accompanied by Father John the Virgin, the priest of the Church of the Virgin in Haret el-Rum, and the Honorable Deacon el-Mualim Girgis el-Tuki Abu Mansur, and el-Mualim Soliman el-Saraf el-Hesen Senrawi. The third time was in Misra, 1417 AM, and the fourth time was in 1421 AM to consecrate the monastery of St. Paul. In the blessed month of Abib, 1417 AM, a great tribulation befell the Orthodox Christians of Egypt during the reign of the governor Mohammed Pasha. An accusation had reached him that the Coptic Christians had built new buildings in their churches. The governor appointed an aga, architects, and judges to go and investigate the accusation. They came back with the evidence that there were many new constructions in the churches. However, God did not forsake his people by the prayers of this godly pope. Many honorable people in Egypt went to the governor to intercede on behalf of the Christians. The governor ordered that a fine be paid as a penalty. The Pope made the lay leaders of El Mualim, Yohanna Abu Masri, El Mualim Girgis Abu Mansur, and El Mualim Ibrahim Abu Awad. They agreed unanimously that the Pope would visit the Christians in their homes and collect what needed to be collected. The penalty was collected and paid to the governor. The lay leaders were able to pay it back to the people, and everyone rejoiced. The churches were opened, and there was peace. And there was peace. The Pope took it hard going to the homes to the believers asking for money, so he went to the monastery of St. Anthony on the 7th of the month of Misra, 1470 AM, for a retreat. In 1419 AM, the Pope decided to make the holy oil Miron. The Lord answered this request and moved the heart of a Christian, the great leader El Mualim Girgis Abu Mansur, the administrator of the churches El Mualaka and Har El Rum. He was charitable to the poor and the needy, cared for the places of the saints and martyrs. He participated in every good deed with the Pope. He prepared what was needed: oil, spices, perfumes, and the Holy Myron was cooked and consecrated by the Pope in the Church of the Virgin in Haret el Rum. The Myron had not been made for a period of 247 years, during which 18 popes sat on 80 popes sat on the throne of Saint Mark. He was also the first to build the patriarchal residence in Haret el Rum and dedicated properties and revenue for it. In 1425 FM, this pope visited Jerusalem with some of the bishops, many priests, and laymen. The archdeacon El Mualim Girgis Abu Mansur El Tuhi paid all the expenses of this trip. He also paid all the expenses for the renovation of the Church of the Virgin known as El Mualaka in Old Cairo. The Pope visited the churches and monasteries. He also visited St. Mark's Church in Alexandria. He traveled everywhere in both Lower and Upper Egypt. In his time, he allowed the holy elements, the holy body, and the blood of Christ to be taken to the sick and those who could not come to the church. This Pope was loved by everyone, and he was honored and respected for his humility, meekness, and his love for the poor. His door was always open to everyone who would call upon him. The days of his papacy were quiet. The, the Lord was with him and delivered him from all his sorrows. He accepted his prayers and supplications, and he lived to a good old age. To a good old age. When he completed his course, he became sick for a short time. Then he departed in peace with his friend the Honorable lay leader Girgis Abu Mansur within 1 week. Many him, and the bishops, the priests, and the lay leaders attended the prayers on his body. They carried him with great honor and placed the body in the tomb of the patriarchs in the church of Saint Mercurius Abu Sefin in Old Cairo in the 10th of Paona, 1434 AM, after he had been on the throne of Saint Mark for 42 years and 3 months. May his prayers be with us. Amen. 4. On this day also of the year 1578 AM, the commemoration of the enthronement of Pope Demetrius II, the 111th Patriarch. This father was born in the village of Galda, the governorate of Elmenia. He became a monk in the monastery of Saint Macarius. When the abbot of the monastery departed, he was chosen to become the new abbot. He did well in managing the monastery. For his good virtues, he was ordained a pope to succeed the great Pope Abba Kyrillus IV, the 110th Patriarch. He completed the construction of St. Mark Cathedral, built many buildings in the Patriarchate, and in his monastery in the area of Atris. In 1869 AD, he attended the celebration of the opening of the Suez Canal and met many kings. He was well respected by Sultan Abdul Aziz. When the Pope wa- when when the Pope came before him to greet him, the Pope kissed the Sultan on his chest. The Sultan was troubled, and the gods asked the Pope what he did that. The Pope said, the Pope said, the book of God says, the king's heart in the hands of the Lord. When I kiss his heart, I have kissed the hand of Lord, the hand of God. The Sultan was pleased with his answer and gave him many farmlands to help the poor and the schools. The Pope traveled on to fi- a governmental boat to visit the churches in Upper Egypt. He regained those who were lost and strengthened the faithful. After he completed in the papacy 7 years, 7 months and 7 days, he departed in peace of the eve of the Vivani, the 11th of October, 1586 AM. May his prayers be with us, and glory be to God forever.